is the Glass Cannon Network.
Hello everyone and welcome to our session 0 for our upcoming Dune Adventures in the Imperium show that we're doing. This is this amazing game that Modifius puts out, and today we're gonna create some characters together, and we're going to create the noble house that those characters to belong to. But before we get into that, I wanted to read a couple quotes to kind of get us in the zone, and these are quotes both from the Manual of Muad'Dib by the Princess Irulan. A beginning is the time for taking the most delicate care that the balances are correct. And the second one, spice, spice, lemonade. Round the corner, fudge is made.
The princess was really astute with that one. Poetic.
She had a good time when nobody was looking.
That was from her earlier works.
Right, the unpublished works.
Yes.
I want to introduce this amazing cast, but before I get to them, I want to introduce the other GM for this series, because this is something we've never done before. There's going to be 2 GMs. This series is going to be split up over 2 different time periods. You know me, your old buddy Troy Lavallee, and this is your old friend and your new friend, Jared Logan.
Hello, everyone. Boy, yes, I'm excited to share this story with this incredible cast and to share it with Troy. Troy's going to take the first half of the series. I'm going to take the back half of the series. So we're doing kind of an exquisite corpse thing where I have to kind of see where the story went with Troy and then continue it from there. So don't.
Would you say he gets the spice and you get the fudge?
I get the fudge. That's right.
I've been told that boys go to Arrakis to get more stupider. Is that true?
Definitely the back end is what I'm in charge of. So yeah, I'm super stoked for this because I'm a big Dune head, as I know a lot of our players are, and I'm about halfway through Heretics right now. Yeah, Heretics of Dune, and I'm jazzed, baby.
Yeah, you've inspired me to start reading the other novels as well, and I've been living in this Dune world now for the past few months because this is going to be an all original adventure, which is something we don't normally do in the Glass Cannon Network. Everything tends to be pre-written, but that's Jared's jam, and I thought this is a unique opportunity, especially with this amazing cast, to try something completely original. And honestly, the story is going to start today in the characters that you create, because I have these general ideas, but I want to see what you come up with, and that's going to kind of launch where this story goes. So before we get to that, let me introduce these amazing players. I mean, this is so absurd that we have this cast. First of all, you know him from the Glass Cannon Network. He is a huge Dune head and was way more Dune than I ever was. Skid Maher in the house.
Hello.
Skid, you're a big Dune guy, and you scoffed at me when I told you a couple years ago that I tried to read it 3 or 4 times and could never get through it. And so you finally convinced me to sit down, and I don't know what happened those other times. I was like, what was wrong with me?
I just have to say, I had the exact same experience. I tried to read it 4 times, couldn't get through it, and then the 5th time was magical. I don't know why the book is like that. I don't know.
Yeah, it is for a lot of people. It is. I mean, I guess it's just sort of non-traditional and kind of its storytelling. So I think it is hard to get through, but I'm glad I finally shamed you into doing it because I think it's important. But no, I loved it. I read it in 5th grade, and actually, I think it was the same year that the David Lynch movie came out. And I was so psyched when the new movie came out, and looking forward to the next one, and looking forward to this because I love Dune.
Yeah, I'm excited because you are going to help me because you know far more about this universe than I do.
I don't really, though. I don't. I'm not like a giant Dune fan. I really like Dune, but I think probably Ross is might know more Dune than I do. I've only read the first book and a little bit of Messiah.
Okay.
So I'm not a giant like encyclopedia of Dune knowledge, but I do.
You're more of an encyclopedia of the David Lynch film, basically.
Yes. Any questions you have about the David Lynch film, I can answer if it comes up.
What's the name of that pug that Patrick Stewart is holding?
David.
Yeah, good. David.
Next up is the amazing. I'm so glad she's finally back with us on the network. The amazing, talented, unbelievable Becca Scott. Becca, welcome back. What an exciting thing to have you join us. Have you always been a big Dune fan, or did all the hype around the movie just get you back into it?
Oh my goodness, Troy! Thank you for having me back. It is a pleasure, and I. Like you all have tried to read Dune. I actually tried to read it on my stream years ago because people sent it to me and were like, it doesn't make sense that you're not a fan of this property. And I read it aloud on stream, like chapter 1. And it didn't grab me, the narrative style. But then the shortcut of watching the film and then going home and watching the film again, the new one, I was like, I need to know everything about this world. So before you contacted me to do this show, this was already on my bedside table. You can see I'm not done. Three quarters, I'd say. But I'm going to continue reading the other books in the series after this. And I've been living in the world of Dune. So when you asked me to do this, I got very, very excited because I am a little obsessed now, but it's new.
Yeah, the more you read about it, and especially the rule book is so beautiful. I think all of Modiphius's books are just works of art in their own right. But the first 100 pages is all lore. And you start to read about this world, and you're like, this is really, more people should have known about this before they did this new movie. The fantasy world that he's created is unbelievable. When I watched the David Lynch movie and the Guild Navigator came out, I had to pause and be like, what the hell is going on here? And then I fell down a rabbit hole of realizing what happens with the steersman and then how people get addicted to the spice. I'm jumping ahead, but let's introduce our next player. She is now a mainstay here at the Glass Cannon Network. And if I had my way, I would put her in a box and move her to New York so she could work with us exclusively, and I could fire Joe. Give it up for Noura Ibrahim.
It's so great to be back. I'm so glad to be doing like more stuff with you guys. I was in chat when you did your big announcement.
Yes, you were. That's right.
Yeah. And I'm super stoked. I think I annoyed Troy a lot with how many texts he got of how excited I was about Dune.
I'd wake up in a cold sweat at 3 a.m. like, who's texting me? Oh, it's only midnight her time. Well, this has been a project we've been trying to do for a while, and I'd mentioned it to you like a year ago, and it was in development hell, as they say. But you were always someone I wanted to be on it, and you know the guys at Modiphius, right? You know Chris and a couple of those guys.
Yeah.
I do too. Hi, Chris.
Great guys. We talked to them right at the beginning. I mean, they couldn't have been more helpful and generous with their time, and hopefully they haven't tuned it out after my fudge joke.
I think it's fantastic. It fits the spirit
I also
of the
bugged
world.
Chris by being like, guess what I'm doing?
Well, thank you for being here. And then finally we have Ross Bryant, who is just, I think Skid hit the nail on the head, the official Dune encyclopedia.
Whew, man, you're really raising the bar, and I hope I can clear it with whatever Dune knowledge is rattling around in my brain. But I'm like y'all. I started this book in high school like 2-3 times and was like, I don't get it. And then at some point later on, I started it again, and it got its hooks of Shai Hulud deep into the rings of my brain, and I've ridden that sweet sandworm ever since. So yeah, I'm making my way through the sextet right now. I just finished Heretics, and the world is so strange and unique and complex and thorny. I can't wait to get into it.
Yeah. Yeah, this is going to be, I mean, I've been so excited to just hang out with you guys. We're recording this on an afternoon where we weren't even going to record this, but I was like, our conversations are going to be too good to not include as part of the sort of palate, not palate moistener. What's the word I'm looking
Palate
for?
moistener?
Do you moisten a palate
moisten-
to get it excited?
On Arrakis, no, you can
that's
wet
right.
your moisture.
What do you do to a palate? You wet an appetite. Do you moisten a palate?
You moisten it, and you use the word
You would on
moisten as much
Arrakis.
as possible.
You would on Arrakis, for sure.
That's true.
Yeah.
Our conversations on this stream today are going to be off the chain. What is the weather like in New York right now? Because we're having it's sort of a nice day.
Let's see. I think it's a balmy 13 out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not bad. I was just out there in barefoot, and my feet are still attached. It has been colder, but we're going to get a big snowstorm tomorrow, so that should be fun. It was better living in an apartment because you didn't have to shovel. But now, if you don't shovel within an hour of the snow hitting the ground, you can't move your car until spring.
Troy, are we to understand that you shoveled your car out barefoot?
No, I was just walking around out there, getting some fresh air. Got to get my steps in, but I didn't feel like putting on shoes. So I was just like, you know what? I own this ground that I'm walking on. I don't need shoes. But it was
Cut out
cool.
the middleman.
Cut out the middleman.
Before we start, can I say
yeah.
a thing I forgot to say in my intro, which is
Don't let her.
okay.
Thank yous. These
Okay,
personal
go ahead.
thank yous.
Sorry, Becca.
Okay, it was about you, Jared. So I was going to give you compliments, but if you don't want that, that's fine. Jared is the one that introduced me to Call of Cthulhu, which I had so much fun playing with Troy running it and Noura in it. And it was such a blast. And I'm so happy about the merging of these two happy channels.
Yeah.
And to play with both of you is another part of the dream. So that's thanks.
If I could
Thank
piggyback
you.
on that sentiment, it's so exciting to have these worlds collide. I love playing with all of y'all, and it's just such a delight. Thank you for having me and us.
I too would like to latch on to the compliments and say that
Skid, are you getting yours ready?
I love you guys.
I'm also happy.
We did it!
These two noble houses shall come together to take down the evil Harkonnen.
So you two are wed in this metaphor.
Yes. Was that not clear in our press release? That's how this merger started. No, we're so excited, and we thought, what better way to kick off the Stream of Blood team joining the Glass Cannon Network than to do this unique collaboration? Because we've kicked around how to do this. Would we GM at the same time? Would we switch off every other episode? Would we go live and then have to write the story the next day? And we thought, why not split it up into 2 time periods? But in talking to Jared the other day, he's already got some pretty wild ideas of where your 5 sessions will go. And while I have ideas, I'm really interested in seeing what you guys come up with today.
Yeah, and I'd also like to say that our 2 properties our 2 houses are not necessarily wedded, but rather it forms a concubine lord relationship that is perhaps more intimate.
Consorts.
And, yes. Though history will call us wives.
Right.
Yes.
Ross made it weird. We were fine, and then Ross made it weird.
Listen, all you have to do is
Look forward
just
to more of
not bear any sons. I only have one request.
You
Yeah.
have one job.
We have
My Prana Bindu training, I can choose.
our own gene manipulation techniques. We'll see what happens. We'll create a beautiful limited series baby.
How do you think the Prana Bindu works to change the sex of the baby? Do you stretch? Do you jostle yourself a certain way? Is it like a stretch where you kind of put your rump in the air and rotate? I mean, what exactly?
Put your knees up.
I just demonstrated.
Legs up after conception, boy.
Yeah.
That is a myth.
And if you swing a ring around a pregnant woman's stomach and it goes counterclockwise, there's a baby in there.
I'm sorry to get the ring thing's true, but I was reading articles lately, and the thing from the dude, Big Lebowski. Not true. You don't need to put your legs in the air.
Good to know.
You know what? It can't hurt.
It can't hurt.
So the whole part in Midsommar where I feel deceived.
Yeah. Well, it is a real myth. So
Jared, should we just jump right in and create this noble house?
Let's jump right in. Let's create a noble house. Here we go. Let's see. You know what? There's a lot of lore here, just in case any viewers aren't familiar, or just in case any of our players need a little refresher. I'll keep it really simple.
Oh, good idea.
And I'll just say that it's the year 10,191, and after winning a jihad against thinking machines, humanity has spread throughout the galaxy in the Frafraluch's feudal system. You know what I'm talking about. And that's under the Emperor Padisha, Emperor Shaddam IV. Okay. So travel between the stars is only possible through the use of the galaxy's most valuable resource, the geriatric spice melange. And without the use of computational machines, it is only through the prescient awareness granted by melange that members of the Spacing Guild are able to navigate across the vast distances of space. And the spice can only be found on one planet, Arrakis, the desert planet Dune. You will now create one of these noble houses that is jockeying for position under the Padisha Emperor Shaddam IV, and trying to build an empire in the galaxy and perhaps even gain control of the spice melange. So when we create a house, we first have to decide the house type, and I'm going to go ahead and take agency away from you for the first decision of the game.
Players love it.
Jared? Never.
Yes, that's what I do. And we're going to create a minor house because that kind of limits some of the choices we have to make. And in the Dune role-playing game from Modivius, when you create a minor house, it means you will have a primary domain and a minor domain. And domains are the things that your house is good at. And I will go ahead and tell you what your choices are.
You could have been any of 4 houses. There's a nascent house, which is kind of like level 1, and then house minor,
new money,
house major. Yeah, new money, and then a great house like the Emperor. But we decided house minor was good for this story because it's kind of like it's a little more than a beginner adventure. You're people that have already established yourself, and because of that, you get one primary and one secondary domain. But what kind of house do you want to be?
Yeah. I think Great House would be like playing on hard difficulty mode. I think you get like more enemies and stuff. I think House Minor is our speed. So yes, so you have to decide what your primary domain is. So that's the thing your house is most known for. And the choices are, take note, the choices are artistic, espionage, farming, industrial, Canly. Canly is the art of
vendetta,
assassination, black ops, basically. Military can be your primary domain. Political, religion, or science.
Yes.
So basically anything that could be a college course.
And then within each of those, there's a bunch of other little things. So like if you were like, whatever one jumped out if you were like, you know what, politics sound cool. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jared, but your domain wouldn't be politics. You would then be something as specific as like diplomats. That's our thing. Is our primary domain is diplomats in the political field, or am I misreading that?
No, you're correct. So yeah, it gets a little bit more granular after you've kind of chosen the broad sort of specialty that your house has.
And you basically have a monopoly on this. That's the way they kind of explain it in the book. Is like your primary domain. This is why you have. Why you haven't been destroyed yet, but there are other people that want to destroy you so that they can have the monopoly on what you have. And then your secondary domain is something that like everyone is kind of vying to take control of. And so you can almost guarantee that you have enemies just because of your fingers being in that secondary domain.
Here's what I love. Okay. Under artistic, you could choose understanding, and then you could make it granular. You could choose literary criticism.
Yeah.
So basically, your house could have not been destroyed and has a major kind of a monopoly on book reviews.
Right.
Essential to the functioning of the Imperium.
Yes.
Well, I was thinking we could do publishing, and we could be house random.
There we go.
I'm taking a point of threat.
I was thinking more along the lines of writing Yelp reviews. There's not enough.
Oh,
There's
but
not
how do
enough
you do
spice on
Yelp
it.
without thinking machines?
Oh, wow.
Just door to door. It's like the Yellow Pages.
Just can't be done.
Hello, have you heard about how this place sucked? Let me tell you.
Yeah, if you have the
Rose.
core in front of you, 88 to 89 has all those different things that Jared rattled off. You know, a lot of different options.
Well, the two that jumped out to me, Canly, because that's a new word and that's fun.
Yeah.
And then political seems cool, but hey, I'm happy with whatever anybody's excited about.
Yeah.
I like
liked
both of
Canly.
those.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, I liked Canly and espionage.
Yeah.
Will be a little sneaky.
A lot
Yeah.
of crossover between those two.
And keep in mind, you'll get a minor domain as well. You'll get like a lesser domain. So you'll get two things ultimately. So you could do some combination of these things.
Yeah. So we could do like espionage and movie reviews.
Right.
Well, you know, in the example in the book, the house that they come up with, their primary domain is poetry, and their secondary domain is assassination. And the way they explain it in the book is like, for one thing, they can be totally different. Another thing is like, if your primary domain is poetry, you could be releasing poems that are sending veiled messages out to other people about assassination targets that you're going to have. So it's kind of a fun idea to make them as different as possible, and then you find the emergent storytelling way that they're connected.
Or you seduce people by telling great poetry, and then when you've got them alone, that's when you assassinate.
That's what you get.
They actually work really well together.
We're a bunch of knife-wielding Pauline Kaels.
But if you are nefarious, you want that business front of what what it looks like on paper.
Right, we're just simple sculptors.
Yes, or perhaps you are, people all go to you for assassinations, but they don't know that in the background you are developing new scientific theories and techniques to make your murders go even better, you know?
We are but humble paper salesmen on our way to the Duke's bedroom.
Okay, so it seems like we all like the idea of a pretty neutral main thing and then a very sneaky or murdery secondary thing.
Yeah, I'm down for
good.
sneaky murdery.
Yeah, happy with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But what should be our front business?
Yeah,
I
let's
love
dig in a little
something
deeper.
something really bland like farming.
I know, I was thinking farming too.
Tractors.
Although we won't get much credit at party.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
I don't know. No offense, farmers.
No, I mean,
it's not exciting. It's not the most thrilling field for a lot of people, but
Ooh,
I mean,
we could specialize as shepherds or herders and just pick like we're sheep people. But I don't know. Maybe Ross knows of an animal that only exists in the Imperium in 10,000 years.
The animal that they keep referring to as a luxury item is everyone refers to whale fur. From time to time throughout the books, they'll describe someone as having a whale fur cloak.
oh wow.
There's some furry whale on some planet.
yeah, and there's also later in the books chair dogs. I'm not making this up. They are
Genetically
dogs
modified.
that you sit on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Are we working on that now? Like IRL? 'Cause that's good.
That's like Adventure Time. It's like something Jake could do.
Air dogs or whales. Sound fun.
There's also there's the giant bulls, right? Aren't there the giant bulls?
Oh yeah, the bullfighting is big.
Killed Duke Leto's father?
That's right.
That's right.
On Caladan, I think they're rice farmers because it's so wet. They have like
Yeah, there's a specific kind of rice that's like the most common food stuff in the Imperium because it's
On
so
Caladan.
perfect. And they grow it on Caladan, yeah.
One other thing to think about this primary domain is that it's going to give your house a trait, and traits are things you use in the game to like get difficulty down if they apply. So the example in the book, for example, you know, they're artistic. So anytime they're doing any role in the game that it has to do with art, they can apply that trait and get the difficulty of the roll down. So whatever you choose here for your primary domain will become a trait for all of you to use.
Just to metagame for a sec, if we do pick art, You can always say the way you did something with an artistic flourish.
Yeah, for sure.
Oratory.
I'm kind of drawn to art, though I could be persuaded otherwise, just because one of the things that appeals to me most about the Dune universe is that it exists in a world that is both futuristic and medieval, and that the sword wielders are these kind of like warrior poets who are able to kind of like spout out all these sort of like troubadouric verses.
Yeah, they break out their balisette, start humming a ballad. I was just looking at artistic under machinery, where you make like set design and lighting and stuff. Like that sounds kind of cool.
They're like, maybe they run like opera houses.
Yeah, something like that.
Goodness.
And then like opera house set design and building, and then espionage or assassination.
I just finished Station 11 because survival's not enough.
I love that show. That show's great. I haven't watched the last episode, but
It's good.
That's
Okay,
awesome.
let's say we did. We were we were like set designers. Hey, listen, if you want for your next big house meeting conference, if you want the proper mood lighting, we can do that for you. And then that's the way we our espionage runs, because we're there in their freaking meetings.
It's almost like we're event planners.
I like that.
And I'm already starting to think of
You get in the house by being the troupe that performs for them.
I also love the idea of what a palace built by set designers would look like, where every wall is a false wall that leads to a false wall that leads to a room with a door to nowhere.
With the circular rotating platform in the floor.
We'll also think of like if your primary domain is set design, there could be a test that you have to do that requires like an understanding of the architecture of buildings, and it's possible that you could be like, well, we know about this stuff, and that could lower the difficulty of a check. So I think this could, as ridiculous as it may sound, it could really come in handy.
Yeah,
Think about it. We have the blueprint. We could infiltrate because we got the blueprint of the building.
Yeah.
Because we installed their lighting system.
Yeah.
Yeah, now it says scenic art and things like that, but you could define it, I think, as architecture if that's what you wanted to do. If you like to define it as set design, I think that's great too.
I love it.
But the little list in there is not complete. Like you can come up with your own kind of ways of defining it. So should we go primary, artistic, machinery, and call it
design.
Set design.
Mise en scène.
Is this going to be ever useful in the scenarios that they set up, where we're like, our inherent skills as set designers are going to help us here?
Well, we're writing the scenario, so like whatever you guys come up with, this is going to help set this off, and I love it. I already have a great idea, so I think that's wonderful. So if you go set design primary, what's your secondary?
Seemed like we were leaning espionage Canley.
Yeah. Does espionage fall under Canley, or is that?
So they are two different things.
Yeah, how are those differentiated in the book?
I think Canley is specifically around assassination.
Yeah.
Yeah, Canley is killing, and espionage is to do with information,
Just
of
spying
course.
and information.
Yeah.
Yeah, to avoid chaos, the great houses agreed on a set of rules for assassination to prevent a slaughter. And these forms of Canley are designed to limit assassinations and all the back and forth that happens afterwards. If only the Corleones had Canley. But now you got to pick a specific area. Like, are you really adept at poisons? Or are you adept at, just finding thugs? That's under workers, thugs. What is your specific area?
Like build guillotines into the walls that they don't know are there.
So you could be
weapons.
You could be machinery again and be like assassination weapons and traps.
I love it.
We trap their domains, their places. Whilst also providing great mood lighting.
Yeah.
There's expertise operation planners. We just have elaborate Rube Goldbergs to kill them.
I think you're onto something here. Primary set design, secondary assassination traps.
Okay, great.
Or are they too closely aligned and it's more fun when they're more juxtaposed?
Yeah, I was thinking like Yeah, just something not quite as tightly linked to our primary thing.
I hear you. Well,
Poison is like done though, you know?
Yeah.
And plus Bene Gesserits, shit doesn't
Poison
affect
is
them.
very 9,000.
I know.
Yeah.
this is 10,191, you guys. Come on, get with the times.
I'm tempted to say, I mean, espionage might be too close, but like suddenly, like in my mind, it's like the theater where like boxes are across from one another and the opera glasses are coming up, and like we're watching conversations on the other side of a room, and like buildings have been created in a certain way to like collect sound or learn.
So like
learn secrets.
espionage produce.
Yeah, information and secrets from other houses. That would be your secondary specialty.
Yeah. So either
Ooh,
that
we just
or
blackmail
like
everyone.
yeah.
We have information on everyone. So if there's ever a situation, we'll be like, check the files. What do we know about this house?
Yeah. Yeah. We collect intelligence.
Okay.
I think that's great. Set design, primary, secondary, blackmail. Blackmail collection.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, and remember, the secondary is the type of thing that's not your specialty. It's something that other people want to be the masters of, and because of that, it causes conflict with your house.
Okay.
So, that solves it. So I have a domain. We are our primary domain is the set designers, and our secondary domain are information and secrets brokers, basically.
It's great.
So then we have to decide a home world. Now there are a lot of home worlds to choose from. You could be based out of Arrakis. I'm trying to bring up the planets here. You could be, or you could even, I mean, God forbid we make up our own planet, but you could do that as well.
Yep.
You could be based off of one of the other planets, like for example,
Secundus.
exactly, yeah, exactly. Thank you, Paladin. Here we go. Gidi Prime. That's the home of the Harkonnens. Here, I have them all now. Ix. That's the home of like these crazy engineers who dominate the creation of machinery. There's a place called Junction, which is a home to the Spacing Guild. Katane. I don't even know anything about Katane. It's a mystery. Poratrin, Riches, Wallach 9. Wallach 9, I believe, is a home to the Bene Gesserits. Tleilax. Tleilax is where the Tleilaxian face dancers come from. And then, of course, there is Seleucus and Kundus.
We would employ them.
We would. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, is it off? I mean, I'm looking in the book here, and it looks like we can kind of like, I don't know. Yeah. Do we select an existing planet, or can we just like
Whatever you want, yeah.
pick one and describe its weather system?
Kind of like making up a planet.
Kind of like making up one.
There's so many planets. Like
Make one up. Why not?
Ooh, can we have just like mud pits that are like hot tubs that everybody's just hanging out in?
It's like a
Sure,
spa,
mud baths.
a spa
Like
planet.
hot springs,
Spa
but
planet.
Planet Les Mis.
Oh, maybe we should just switch. We should just switch our focus here, because like a White Lotus deal, like just a spa.
Spa. Your primary domain is spas.
Yeah,
The Pleasure
Shitting in
Planet.
suitcases.
That's
That's our
weird
main
primary domain.
blackmail.
But you're the best at it.
Like Risa from Star Trek, The Pleasure Planet.
I would say don't stress too much about your home world, because
Yes,
it's really
we
just,
won't be there.
Yeah, you won't be there, but it may inform the story. So if you want to make
Right.
something up, just come up with a name for it and describe it.
Well, we have the house is on a home world, but we may have been born somewhere else as individuals.
That's right.
Yes, it's possible. Yeah,
okay.
and I
If
can
you-
tell you. Go ahead, Jared.
Oh, I apologize. If you like, we can kind of skip over Homeworld right now. If nobody has like the name of the planet you're making up on the fly, just on the tip of their tongue, like we can just move forward.
Yeah, and the other stuff we have to think of is the banners and arms, which we're hopefully going to have drawn for your
Amazing.
house.
Amazing.
Very interested to see what you think of for that. And then really important is your house traits.
Yeah.
And one, I believe, is, I wrote little notes to myself. One is your primary domain trait. So it's a trait that is linked to set design. And then the secondary trait describes your reputation.
Right. So the house in the book, because they were poets or what have you, they took artistic as a trait, but you guys wouldn't have to take artistic. You could also call yourselves designers. That could be your trait. Or
thorough, sturdy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I am sturdy.
Handy, because you chose machinery as sort of the kind of focus there. Crafty, you could take it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like something along the lines of that, like clever, creative.
Are we making up our own, or are we pulling these from a list?
We are just kind of making it up. Like, what describes a group of set designers?
Visionaries. I would say not pedantic, but like attention to detail, because measurements are very important.
Mm-hmm. Detail oriented?
Yeah, detail oriented.
Okay, great. That's your primary trait there from your that's your trait from your primary domain. You are detail oriented. And so anytime that can come up in certain roles, you can use that. And now the second trait that you have to choose for your house is another descriptive phrase like detail oriented, and it should be kind of how people know you or what your reputation is. The example house in the book is secretive, but you could have a different adjective that describes your people.
I'll throw out another word if you like this better. Meticulous.
Ooh,
meticulous is good.
Nice.
Yeah, I like it.
I like that.
Meticulous. Switching detail oriented to meticulous.
You can abuse that trait. If you want to be that player, you can really abuse that trait in the game.
Yeah.
Well, Troy, I'm meticulous, so
why wouldn't I?
I wouldn't have failed that
do
test.
And then I say, great, then your roll takes extra time as you double check and triple check all of the pylons in your set design. What game are we playing? All right.
Yeah, what is your reputation? Are you surly? Are you secretive? Are you honorable?
What is that? Sorry, I keep jumping in. That thing that fairies have in various lore where like you can only tell the truth, but you're saying it in like a riddly roundabout way.
Oh, loquacious or something?
Circumspect?
Like, circumspect?
These are all good words.
Mm-hmm. What is it? Did you say loquacious, Skid?
Loquacious.
No, circumspect isn't right. But I know what you're talking about. There is a word.
Yeah.
Fairy-like? Fairy-like is your reputation.
Well, you could be
just
fey,
fey.
or
I think
you know what you
fey
could
actually
be?
works.
Mercurial.
Mercurial.
It's like fey in all senses of like, yeah, that these are aesthetic people who are kind of disarming because they're very, it's attention to detail and fastidious, and they could
We're sounding like a bunch of mentats.
The
Or
threat.
wedding planners.
Yeah.
Yeah, it says mercurial, if you like that word, is subject to sudden or unpredictable changes of mood or mind. I don't know if that exactly describes.
Bitches.
Speaking in riddles, like what is
PvP?
What is a word for speaking in riddles?
I'm not married. I just was throwing out an idea. Feel free to, if anybody else has anything.
I just can't go to bed until I know what this word is that you're trying to say. So I'll be off doing this for the rest of the stream.
There is a word.
Build your characters.
Circumspect isn't, well, no, that says wary and unwilling to take risks.
Yeah.
No.
What is it? Like equivocating? Like
Equivocating.
When you are, there is a word for this. When you speak in riddles, like what is that word?
But a big part of it that I think is fun about that generic lore and a bunch of stuff is that they cannot lie. Like, you know that they will always be honest and truthful. It's just you need to be able to interpret that truth.
Right.
But then we have to talk like that, so maybe that's not so good for me.
Right.
Maybe us not coming up with the exact word is because we are these people.
I think
because we're so
have it.
fastidious.
Maybe we simplify it to mysterious or
mysterious. I think sounds like the way to go, especially since like so much of what we're describing is almost like illusion design. You can imagine these folks creating like the box where someone walks in, you open it up and they're gone, but there's a trapdoor. It's the stuff that like Penn and Teller do.
Yeah, like magic tricks, stage magic,
stage illusions.
Yeah.
Penn and Teller of Dune. I love it. I'm writing that down.
Yeah. Mysterious is good.
Illusory.
Elusive.
Elusive. That's a really good one, guys. Should we go with that?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I like elusive.
Beautiful. And that covers like speaking in riddles, but also being able to escape at a moment's notice, hard to pin down, elusive.
Ooh,
Okay,
the definition says deceptive. I like that.
Yeah, that's perfect. Okay, so
Cool.
What
you
is
are
theatrical design but a lie? It makes a space look larger than it actually is.
Yeah. And it's a little homage to Mass Effect 2. The Martin Sheen's character, the Elusive Man.
there you go.
The chat's lighting up for that, Skid.
We now have our house, our minor house, primary domain, set design, secondary domain, information and secrets. They are meticulous and elusive. We need to name it, but we don't have to do that right now. In fact, maybe we should move on to character creation. Troy, what do you think?
Yeah, I think so. Unless anybody had a good idea for the banner and arms, which would just be like a symbol and the colors that go with that symbol.
Great.
Something related to set design.
So not chair dogs or whale jackets.
Oh, I have a maybe name for the house.
Great.
House Houdin. Houdin.
Ooh, in.
Yeah, which was it was Harry Houdini's birth name.
Houdin.
That was his real last name, was Houdin.
Oh, I
love
like
it.
it.
I really love it. It sounds like a Dune name.
Yeah,
right?
Houdin.
Yeah.
House Houdin.
1,000 points.
Your coat of arms is what? A hammer and a ruler?
Maybe it's like one of those boats that you can only see if you stare at it for a long time.
It's a magic eye. It's a magic eye. I don't see the coat of arms. It's there.
You have to unfocus your eyes when you're looking at it.
What a ridiculous idea. Every flag is indecipherable.
Yeah.
What the hell? Who's coming? I don't know.
Give me a second. Everybody shut up.
Well, you know, you could just define your coat of arms for now as an abstract symbol, because you know the Emperor has a lion, the Atreides have a falcon. Like, why not go abstract? You know?
Yeah, it may come up in play, like you said, Jared. Like as we start to create these characters,
I think we might have an idea. Yeah, as we go.
I feel like it should be geometric, like maybe a polyhedral that looks like a planet.
Yeah, with like 20 sides.
No, just kidding. That's your logo.
Or how about a stylized H for Houdin, which, if you look at it another way, it kind of looks like a butterfly, something that goes through a metamorphosis.
Oh, interesting.
Is one thing, and then while also being another.
Okay.
Abstract and geometric, and
a butterfly that turns into a man. What was it again?
But an H and a butterfly. I see that.
Yeah.
Like each arm of the H is a wing with a little, like kind of deco-looking butterfly.
Yeah, that's a very
Good luck, designer.
Well,
yes.
I guess we don't have to wait. We've got it. An H butterfly.
I've written down a stylized H that also looks like a butterfly.
Nice.
And that, I think, for now, I think, and I do think we let maybe the rest of this develop as we create our specific characters. Like, you know, you can come up with a motto and all these other little things, but and you know, it also says on your sheet you can define who the ruler is, who the ruler's consort is, who the heir to the house is. Let's let that develop as we create our characters.
So this is so exciting. This is what I was most looking forward to.
Yes. So I will ask who's up first, because we're gonna just start hearing concepts, and then perhaps picking a faction if you have a faction in mind. Who would like to go first?
I don't have to go first, but I do have a faction in mind. I wonder if Noura and I both are dying to be Bene Gesserit. The TLX is also interesting.
Doing crazy things. I was kind of leaning between. I love Bene Gesserit, but I thought you had your mindset on, like, or heart set on that.
Because fear is the mind killer. Fear is the tiny death that brings little death that brings obliteration.
I was going between a Bene Gesserit and a Fremen.
Ooh, interesting.
Ooh. Wow.
So you know, I'm willing to
you know, your factions are, you got Bene Gesserit, you got Fremen, you got Mentat, Spacing Guild Agent, Sook Doctor, but don't forget, like, you can also be the Duke of your house. You can be the consort. You could be the heir. Like, don't feel like you have to choose one of those things. If you're like, you know what, no, I want to be the Duke. But you can also be the Duke of your house who is like a former Sook Doctor who now, you know, you can mix and match any way you want.
Yeah, so yeah, you don't have to take a faction necessarily. Yeah, you can just be kind of, I mean, but I mean, I want people to play what makes them excited, as I'm sure Troy does too. So just let us know.
My other idea was being some sort of like noblewoman of the court, but had some Bene Gesserit training because they do that.
Oh yeah,
like
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
You flunked out of BG school.
I kept trying. You know, they do that. I could do everything except for walk with the book on the head. And that's when they flunked me out.
Yeah.
Well, then I think let's start with Becca, since she's going to take the Bene Gesserit, and we will then we'll slide right into Noura, who has a couple options to mull over there. I mean, I love all of those options. So
I am committed full BG, but I just want to shout out how cool how do you say it? Talilax?
Bene
Gesserit. They're just like creepy mad Frankensteins that like love have some weird twisted ways of making fucked up mentats and like.
Well, you gotta read Dune Messiah once you finish Dune, because that's what introduces them, and it's a big part of it.
Aren't they kind of like riding the line between creating thinking machines, like just kind of pushing the boundaries of what's acceptable as far as technology? Is that right?
The Ixians are the ones who are like pushing it almost to the level of AI. They're the sort of technologically minded, and the Lilacs are doing almost like genetic modification of organic matter and creating things like the face dancers who can shapeshift, and also doing a bizarre form of cloning where they're able to resurrect a dead person if they have access to its flesh in the form of a
if that were to happen at some point in the story, like, who knows?
The Golas are so cool. Yeah, that was really fun to read about. Super creepy.
Yeah. You know, I read Dune and I loved it and fell in love with it, got obsessed, but it wasn't until I really dug into the first 100 pages of the core rulebook that I read all about like the Butlerian Jihad and how like the thinking machines had taken over, and because of that, they were like, we're outlawing technology, but instead they just made people superhuman because of the spice, but everyone is using the spice in different ways. I mean, that's why it's such a wonderful universe for us to play in for a fantasy setting. So you're thinking Bene Jazz. You're thinking noble with a side order of Bene Jazz.
Well, which works perfectly, because you could just take maybe like one sort of Bene Gesserit talent, you know, and like that reflects your training, and then the rest of it could be like more like just, you know, regular noble woman kind of traits and stuff like that. I think we're in a good place. I'm gonna go ahead and on Becca's character sheet, write down that she is Bene Gesserit. Anything else you want to tell us about your character idea before we move on? It gives you an automatic mandatory talent, Becca, Prana Bindu Conditioning.
Which is the sweetest thing ever. So that's under talents. Got it.
Yeah, and then if you look further in the book, it'll tell you what the mechanical bonuses you get from that.
Right.
Yeah, I think that I don't have a fully formed idea of who this character is yet, so suggestions welcome. But the hierarchy is interesting. I think that I probably have not gone through the agony yet, so I don't have access to the other memory, which is like the collective inherited memory of Bene Gesserit, who took this poison and did this thing where you convert the poison with your Prana Bindu. Sorry, you guys all know this. I'm saying it for the people watching. Convert it into something non-toxic, just using your mind powers. So that's pretty sweet, but I feel like I have not yet gone through the agony. So maybe I'm just a sister.
That's great, and I will say Prana Bindu Conditioning is going to let you re-roll a dice whenever you're doing a discipline or move roll pertaining to your body because you have perfect body control.
That's
and
cool.
you can definitely fill out the rest of the concept when you're filling out your skills and your drives and stuff. So now I will move straight to our next person who spoke up. Noura, how are you feeling now? Fremen, or are you feeling like the noble with a little Bene Gesserit training? What are you feeling?
Well, before trying to categorize her into a thing, I was thinking like I wanted my character to be kind of sneaky and kind of fighty.
Okay,
Sneaky
great.
fighty.
A sneaky fighty character. That makes sense. So it sounds like she's not going to take a faction. She's gonna be like just a part of the house, and she could be even the house's like spy master.
Yeah.
Or let's see here.
Oh, that's cool.
sexy.
Yeah, the spy master of the house. Do you like that?
I like that.
Love
So
it.
I'm going to write down in her traits, spy master of House Houdin. And that kind of describes her. And that gives us her concept. And that's all we really need right now, unless you're taking a faction. So we know we have our spy master. And so
Why
now
does this house of set designers need a spy master? Something is wrong in House Houdin.
You would think as a spy master you wouldn't advertise that you are the spy master.
Well, perhaps
Stage
it is only
manager.
known. Perhaps it is only known among the members of the house.
Yes.
You guys are going to make jokes, and I'm just going to take them very literally and go, well, actually, the technology does work that way.
Yeah, I mean, the way it works in Dune is like everybody is manipulating everybody constantly. So all these houses have their spy masters, their sword masters, their this or that. It makes total sense.
Yeah. Well, we have our specialties, but we're also ruling a nation.
Yes.
A vassal nation, like a moon, or in our case, or whatever, or part of a planet. So, like, we still have to take into account all the other things that go on with governance.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that's a very good point to make. And so now I will go ahead and move on for concept. What is your concept, Ross Bryant? What is the idea for your character, and are you taking a faction?
I mean, I kind of came into this almost blind. I wanted to see how the house formed. We've got a spy master lurking in the shadows. We got a Bene Gesserit. We are creators of theatrical and artistic illusions that suck up secrets. I mean, is there a world in which you could build a face dancer, like a Lilac character?
Absolutely.
Well, Troy, there are no talents that cover that. Flop sweat breaks out on my head.
My answer to pretty much everything on this is going to be, yep.
I think that's a good answer. Yeah, we'll figure it out, Ross. We'll figure it out.
I think maybe
They're in the book somewhere. I've seen them, or at least they make reference to them, but I thought they even
Under
had
the
a talk about
TOS.
them.
there are NPC stats for them.
Yeah, your talent is like shape changing.
Mimicry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Ross, like, you could be like the artistic director.
yeah,
Something
and I
like
think
a face dancer. Like you graduated from the touring company or whatever, and now you're,
exactly like dance captain of
right.
of House Houdin.
Yeah,
They do get, it says they're gifted with Pranabindu skills worthy of a Bene Gesserit.
That is correct. I think a mandatory talent will be this one that I'm pretty sure isn't in the book for players, but I mean, goddamn, we got to say yes and. It's called face dance.
Yes.
No penalty on attempts to disguise features, whether old or young, male or female, or as a specific person.
Amazing.
And I think this is the kind of thing, and I mean, in the books, for example, there's a face dancer named Satail or Skytail who moves among other characters. Like no one only really trained Bene Gesserits can tell that they're in disguise, but most folks can't. And you rarely see them how they actually look. And when they're finally described how they look without the disguise, it's really strange. So I think whoever this was would move incognito almost all the time and have like a base identity that they'd always kind of adopt, but could shift into whoever. So if the idea is infiltrating people or learning things, this is someone who in theory could get close. So maybe someone working for Noura's character to go on these sort of spy missions.
So are you saying that maybe that even your own housemates don't know who you really are, or that you're a face dancer?
Because, at least in the world of Dune, the Bene Lilacs are seen as so creepy and repulsive. Everybody talks about them as filthy or dirty. That it would be the kind of thing where if it got out that this household was using such a person, it would be a very deep shame.
Great. Done. We have a face dancer. I've written down for main trait, face dancer in House Houdin, not of House Houdin, because they don't know they have a face dancer necessarily. But you have infiltrated House Houdin and you are working for them. And now, Skid Maher, what is your basic concept, and are you taking a faction?
I also didn't have any idea what I wanted to do coming in, and I still really don't. I was thinking
so many
either
good options.
I know. I was thinking either a couple things, either like a Mentat treasurer,
yes,
or the Swordmaster, which we don't really have yet.
Of Ginaz?
Swordmaster of Ginaz, or I guess that, or just like on some kind, like a chief envoy.
Right. I love all of that. What do you think, Troy?
I think it's great. I mean, obviously, it'd be fun to have a Mentat in there. I think that's right up your alley. Swordmasters, they're all great. But I mean, if I had to choose, I'd go Mentat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mentat. Okay, maybe I'm. Boy.
Just the stained lips.
Yeah.
I expect lipstick cosplay every week.
You okay, well that does give me something to shoot for.
You're like Peter DeVries, just like all over.
Okay, so I think I will be a Mentat chief envoy.
Ooh.
Okay, great.
Noura, I was just thinking, if you wanted to be a Fremen spy master, you could combine those ideas.
That's
like
true.
someone in coming to Arrakis, maybe they brought you in making like a relationship with the Fremen, they brought you into their house.
Yeah, I was thinking about that, and then I was like, well, what if we're going with the storyline of like, oh, we're collecting information? I thought it might be better to be like a member of a court or the house that like would know all of the different groups of people and the goings on about that. They would like kind of be the, would be able to gather more information than if somebody who is seen as an outsider.
Okay, great. This works well then. We got a Bene Tlaylock, Sioux face dancer, a Bene Gesserit, a spy master, and a Mentat envoy. So what's going to be interesting is we'll kind of collectively create the Duke and the Duke's wife and all these other Swordmaster. These are all going to be characters that exist that you could end up playing, but you're not going to build them right now. Jared and I will build them as we shape the house.
Yeah.
I'm debating. So many Bene Gesserit are consorts, but I don't want to be too like gender casty, and that's kind of like the lame part of Bene Gesserit is that they always have to bang these stupid dukes.
Well, the breeding program is very important. Oh, I just made it more sexist.
You could be the real leader of the house too.
It's so interesting that that's how they control. And it is like super fucked up too. Like they choose to be the cows.
But yeah,
I mean that is kind of part of being Bene Gesserit. So,
is there anything to say that a Bene Gesserit couldn't also, just be the Duchess of the house?
Yeah, you could be
Dibs.
the Duchess.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I kind of like that. And
okay, then I need many male consorts. Well,
done.
What am I doing with male?
Absolutely.
Many consorts, period, of all genders.
all right, so the Bene Gesserit Duchess with several consorts.
Thank you. Wow. Are we just playing this game just for me?
What's fun with that, though, is then you should also have lots of children. Or several children. That would be fun to play with.
That would make you the ruler of House Houdin.
Yes.
Unless that's too slanted of play style.
No, not at all.
I have a question.
Yes.
If I went Fremen, but still was a spy master, could I also be like the shady spice dealer? Like of the
Smuggler.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like
you
if
would
I
be
was-
betraying your people, but you don't belong to them anymore. You belong to House Houdin.
Yeah.
So that might be an interesting
could be
thing.
why
It's
I'm
like-
here is because they kicked me out.
Yeah,
I'm sure there are Fremen
an exiled
smugglers.
Fremen.
An
That's
exiled
awesome.
Fremen.
Yeah.
Dealing spice.
Smuggling spice.
Maybe
Yeah.
that's how
So-
House Houdin was able to even get a foothold here.
Wait,
under.
so are you still the spy master, or are you a smuggler for House Houdin, or is it all of the above? Like what I love about players is they're always like, I'm 7 things.
I just want to break all the rules. If I the spy
be a-
master
you could be
ties in
this-
more with the.
The spy
I
master,
wanted the
and you're
spice thing
involved in a
just for
smuggling.
flavor. Just for
You're involved
flavor.
in
A
smuggling.
reformed Fremen spice smuggler who now focuses on spy mastering.
Yeah,
who
I
failed
mean-
out of the Bene Gesserit school.
No, you could say that you were. You were exiled.
I've got so many student loans from all of it.
Did I mention I'm also a souk doctor?
So you need to choose some mandatory talents, Noura and Skid. So Skid, of the mandatory talents you can choose from, there's one called Foreknowledge, deals with predicting things. Mentat Discipline or Mind Palace. And Noura, you need to choose, since you are now a Fremen, whether you have one of the following talents: Dedication, Driven, Master at Arms, Rapid Recovery, Resilience, Subtle Step, or The Reason I Fight. Boy, that's simple. That's just a list of 9 things. And you can wait until we get into talents a little more if you like.
Okay, because some
to
of
make
those
that
are
choice.
some of those do jump out. But I like, what is the difference between like resilience and what was the other crap? What was the other one? I lost it. I'm looking at the list right now.
Yeah, Dedication, Driven, Master at Arms, Rapid Recovery, Resilience, Subtle Step, and The Reason I Fight.
What's okay? I'm gonna have to probably like read over these.
Yeah.
Yeah,
To,
no problem. No problem. Why don't you take some time? They're in the core book we sent you.
Okay.
Take a look at them, and when we get to talents, you can tell us which one is your mandatory talent.
Okay.
Troy, I pass it over to you to get to step 2 of character creation, Archetype.
Yeah, archetype. So this may help sort of refine who you are a little bit more. And some of the things you said, like, I want to be a this, that didn't have a faction per se, there may be an archetype that fits exactly what you want. And each archetype is going to give you your second trait, if you didn't take a faction, which comes with a mandatory trait. Certain skills that are going to help you define what your primary skill is and what your secondary skills are. 2 focuses for your primary skill and some talents. So this really helps shape the character, and then you really just get into the numbers and the point buy. So you can, the best thing to do here is kind of choose who you think this is from a broad scope. Are they a war master? Are they a socialite? Are they a disciple? Are they an adept? Or are they an academic? And then once you choose from those 5 things, then look within and be like, oh, you know what? A war master, that's what I want to be. I'm a war master. Well, are you a duelist? Doesn't sound like anybody was a duelist. A tactician, a warrior, or a sergeant? So looking through those things, what jumps out? Any socialites in the house tonight?
A bit of a socialite. This isn't listed under the recommended for Bene Gesserit because it does recommend a bunch of archetypes, but given that I called dibs on ruler of the house, I feel like commander fits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what's nice, I always think it's interesting, is if they just say recommended and don't say mandatory, it's going to be way more interesting for this particular group to do whatever the hell you want. So if commander sounds good, go commander.
I'm always going commando.
It's just smart.
What were you saying? Ross had a thing.
Oh, Ross.
I also have a thing. I was going to choose academic spy. Since that seems to be how this character is developing.
Yes.
Just someone able to move in many circles, and I think, is maybe deals directly with entertainers that come in, since many of the entertainers of this world might be face dancers themselves. I think that might be how this individual came to House Houdin. And but yeah, at the beck and call of her ladyship and whoever else wishes to send them on a mission and go deep cover.
That's great. And so if you go spy, your primary skill is understand. So you'll put the most points into understand. Your secondary skill is move because you're slick. And so your second highest point will go into that when we get into that. But your focuses are deductive reasoning and canly. And so those focuses, you will decide how you want to attribute them. If you want to be all about discipline, then you might put deductive reasoning as your focus for discipline. And if you have a focus in a particular skill, do you remember what the mechanical bonus is, Jared? It allows you to, if you roll under that number, it counts as a critical.
If you roll under your skill number,
Yeah. So skills that have focuses give you a higher chance of success.
Great.
And then, of course, you get the talent hidden motives to go with your other talent, which is face dance. And then the drives are much more esoteric. You can kind of make a drive whatever you want, but this will provide you with a little inspiration. All right, so we got a spy, we got a commander. What about you, Noura and Skid?
I think go ahead.
I'm envoy. Like envoy is an archetype. I'm envisioning myself as the chief envoy of the house, the chief diplomat of the house, the Henry Kissinger of the
I like that.
Spy making stage guys. So yeah, that's my thing.
Chief diplomat. Very cool. Okay. And Noura, what were you thinking?
Okay. I think because given what everybody has said that they want to do, I might pivot a little to be more fighty. And stick with Fremen and be a master of arms, do the warrior archetype.
Yeah!
Awesome.
Okay. Fremen, warrior, master at arms.
Yeah.
Awesome. That is awesome. All right, so this house no longer has a spy master, but it does have a spy.
It does have a spy.
Because Ross was doing, because Ross was kind of
stuff.
Yeah, he had spy stuff.
True.
So I'm like, we need a tank.
That is very cool. Okay.
Nice.
Fremen, warrior, master at arms. And that would be different than a sword master, or kind of the same thing? Like, would the heir of the house be training under you? Or would you be training the legion? Or both?
I feel like I'd want to be the trainer.
Okay. Yeah, so you're kind of a Gurney Halleck.
Yeah, you're a
character.
sword master type.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So I'm going to change your character a little bit. I'm going to write down Sword Master of House Houdin.
Okay.
And then that will come with, you'll be training the people in the house to fight, and you will know how to wield a sword yourself. So we do have one combat-related character.
And a couple socialites and a spy. All right, this is shaping up. So you'll see under the archetypes you chose, your new trait. And the trait is it's something that... Trait kind of means everything in this game. It allows something to be possible or impossible, and because of the existence of a trait, it can either aid or take away from your role. So if you're trying to do something, Noura, and I'm like, I just don't think you'd be able to kind of tell that person what to do. You could be like, well, I have the trait Sergeant. I feel like I tell people what to do all the time. They would take me seriously, and I'd be like, all right, you're right. You made it possible by invoking your trait. So take a look at that, and then I'll kick it back to Jared.
What page is that on?
That is on page 114. Okay. And all of these archetypes, along with what bonuses you get and boons, are page 114 to 118. But I'll kick it back to Jared to go over skills and sort of how the system here. Now we'll get into the numbers for when we actually pick up dice. But the one thing you have to know is a 20 is bad in this game, and a 1 is good.
Right. You want high skills, so you raise that target number you're trying to roll under really high, so it's easy to roll under it. Let me talk about your skills. So you have the skills listed on your character sheet. They are battle, communicate, discipline, move, and understand. Discipline, just a little bit of explanation. Well, let's start at the top. Battle is fighting things, but it's not just fighting hand to hand. It might also be fighting between starships or something like that. Communicate is all kinds of communication, deception, or also making friends, diplomacy. Anything that involves communication is communicate. Discipline is self-control, body control, enduring things, stamina, things like that. Move, that's a very self-explanatory one. It's how quickly you can get from here to there. But what you might not realize is it's not just your own personal movement. It also might govern vehicles, travel with machinery. And finally, understand is how smart you are, how much you know about things, what kind of knowledge you have. So, because of the archetypes you've chosen, you all have a primary and a secondary skill already. So let's begin with Becca. Becca, as a commander of House Houdin, you have a primary skill in communicate and a secondary skill in battle. So those are the those need to be the highest. Your primary skill, communicate, needs to be your highest skill, and battle, I believe, needs to be your second highest skill. So your primary skill starts at a 6 for battle. I'm sorry, forgive me. Communicate is your primary.
Yes.
Battle started at a 6, and your secondary skill of battle will start at a 5. Everything else starts at 4, but then you get some points to spend, and you have 5 points you may distribute as you see fit between your skills. So I'm looking at your Bene Gesserit's sheet. Battle 5, communicate 6, discipline 4, move 4, understand 4. Add 5 points to that, and you can't go higher than 8 in any of your skills. And I'll come back to you in a minute, and you can tell us where you put those points. I'm going to move right down to the line to Noura. Noura, you have a primary skill of battle, so that's going to start at 6 for you. And you have a secondary skill because of your archetype of a warrior. Your secondary skill is discipline, so that starts at a 5 for you.
Okay.
The rest start at 4, and you're going to distribute 5 points. Then I'm going to Ross Bryant and his face dancer. Face dancer as a spy. Your primary skill is understand, actually. So that'll start at a 6. Your secondary skill is move. That'll start at a 5. Everything else starts at 4. Distribute your 5 points. And finally, Skid as an envoy. Let's see. Oh, I actually missed you, Skid. Here we go. An envoy, your primary skill is communicate, and your secondary skill is move. So 6 communicate, 5 move. Everything else is at 4. Distribute your 5 points. Nothing higher than 8, everybody. And I'm going to see if I can come back around. Becca,
I'm sorry. I'm a little confused at the distribute the rest. So you gave me the one that was 6. You gave me the one that was 5. Is everything 4 and under?
So yeah, no problem, Noura. So your character has a 6 in battle, a 5 in discipline, communicate 4, move 4, and understand 4.
Okay.
And now you're going to add points. So if you want to raise communicate to 5, that means you have 4 points left to distribute. If you want to raise it to 6, then you'd have 3 points left to distribute. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, great. Becca, have you, go ahead.
Nothing could be higher than a 6, right?
Nothing can be higher than an 8, actually.
An
You can
8,
get it all the way up to 8. So it may be, just talking a little strategy for players, it may behoove you to take that primary skill, which is the thing you want your character's main gimmick to be, and go ahead and shoot that up to 8, leaving you with 3 points to distribute anywhere you like. And now I'm going to come back around. Is anybody ready? Can anybody tell me where they've put their points?
Yes.
I was going to say one thing to think about is where Skid and Becca both have communicate as their primary. You might want to see how the party shakes out. If you both min-max and go up to 8, then you guys might find that you're really weak in battle or something like that.
Right.
So just something to think about. You probably want to max out your best, but the whole party composition is going to be important too.
Well, I did go another way. So.
Oh, good.
So I kept communicate at 6. I kept move at 5, and then I put 1 point into discipline, move that up to 5, and then I put the rest of my points into understand. So understand is at 8.
Oh no, I did the same. Okay.
Oh, okay.
That was my
No, you're
peak
good.
skills.
You're good.
Okay.
I don't need to understand.
Okay. I just meant that. I figured,
Yeah. Okay.
Wait, I wonder if that's I just have to make sure that is a legal spend because
Is it?
It probably is, but I feel like there's something about primary skills in your archetype where it might say you must keep your archetype's primary skill as the top
The
skill.
highest?
I'm just let me make sure.
Okay.
I'm not seeing that right off the
does
top of my
say-
head. Oh, go ahead.
You may increase any skills you wish on page 119.
Yes. Okay. Let me see.
Yeah, I have a feeling they might be all right, Jared. Like
I think
they have a leg up with the archetype, but if they choose to go a different way, I think it has.
I think what you're saying is you can't take away from your starting value of your primary.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Yes. Okay. Then we're good. Then we are fine. Great. Skid has finished his skills. Now, Skid, you must choose your focuses for your skills. Okay. So your chosen archetype will provide 2 focuses, one of which will be associated with the archetype's primary skill, and the other which will be associated with the secondary skill. And then you will get, I think, 2 more. So you get 4 focuses altogether. What are focuses? Well, I sent you a little list of them. They're basically the specialties. I think Troy mentioned them already once before. So instead of just broadly being good at battle, you may have a focus in sneak attacks. So your envoy has a focus in diplomacy and persuasion. And those probably go beside communicate. Diplomacy and persuasion. And now
how does that work? You put diplomacy towards, like, you could put diplomacy towards communicate and then put persuasion towards something else.
Move?
Yeah, or you could put them both, I think. I think you can put them both in communicate if you wish. Let me read it exactly.
Yeah, look at the example in the book from the Caramole they go through. That's actually, I find that I learn the most from reading their example of things.
She wants something more direct for her battle focus, so instead picks short blades. Okay. So I think you can choose, it says here diplomacy and persuasion, but you can choose either for your communicate focus and then something for your, I believe your secondary was move.
Was move, yeah.
Yeah, so you can choose, but would you like diplomacy or persuasion for your communicate focus?
I will take diplomacy.
Right. And then what about for move? And there's a whole list there. So yeah, for example, pilot is one, but so is climb.
I think I'll take grace.
Grace, beautiful.
Grace for move.
The balletic grace of a diplomat.
And
I think it's like so much of communication, especially in this universe, is nonverbal.
Yeah.
So I think that's his focus, like for that.
So now you get to choose 2 more, and I'll let you think about those. The list I gave you is not complete. Like, you can come up with your own if nothing quite matches what you want. You can add them to a skill you already have a focus in, or you could add them to, say, your discipline of 5 could get a focus. You need 2 more of those. You get, I think, 4 focuses altogether. And so now I will move. Who else has finished their skill buying?
Well, I'm definitely going to go up to 8 and communicate because Skid did not. And that was my primary. And then I was thinking, well, my second one, I'm not really particular, so I would just fill in where there hasn't been one, which I thought might be move. Is anybody leaning into move?
I wasn't.
Not at my maxed. but I do have it.
But since
A discipline was my. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Since understand was my peak, and that seems well and truly covered, maybe I'll shift things around.
Is anybody really hitting discipline hard? Because
No.
that seems very Bene Gesserit-y.
Yeah, I'm not. I did do my top one in battle, but my second highest, I put points in move because I feel like the Fremen know how to move. Is like a. I thought that was like on brand for their characteristics.
Love it. I'm doing communicate and discipline. +2 to my communicate to put it to 8, and +3 to my discipline to put it to 7.
Great.
I love
that
the way
makes sense
they describe the way the Fremen move in the desert to avoid attracting the worm. That's great. It's very smart.
It sounds hard. You have to step, but not with any kind of rhythm. Yeah. It's so odd.
I used to do it as a kid whenever I'd go to the beach. It is.
We
It's
all
not
will
easy.
now.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's Becca taken care of. The Bene Gesserit has her skills. And I'm sorry. So as commander, you get an automatic focus. And that focus, well, you can choose. Do you want inspiration or leadership as your communicate focus?
I'll take inspiration, please.
Great. And then you must pick one for your secondary skill, which for a commander is battle. You must pick one in battle. So what are you good at in battle? There's assassination, but there's also atomics. You're good at dropping atomic bombs. Dirty fighting, dueling, etc., etc. Let me know what you think you're going to do there.
Given House Houdin, I think evasive action or sneak attacks feels interesting.
Good.
Maybe tactics. I don't know. What feels house related here? Because I'm thinking like I'm orchestrating on the giant map that is a table with big oversized chess pieces representing different houses.
Yes, maybe tactics.
Yeah.
Tactics, yeah.
Let's do tactics.
Okay, tactics. She sees it from above. She chooses the way through that way. Excellent. Okay, and you get 2 more focuses. Look at that list I sent you and apply them to 2 more of your skills or one of the same skills any way you'd like. Noura, how about your skill spending? Do you know where you're at now?
Yeah. So I did max battle to 8.
Great.
I increased my move to 6.
Great.
Discipline is 5. Communicates 5. Understand is 4.
Communicate is 5. Understand is 4. So 1, 2, 3.
Did I do that right?
I think you did. Yeah. 8, 5, 5, 6, 4. Okay, great. And then as the sword master, as the warrior that you are, you get a focus for battle that looks like it's dirty fighting or long blade. Which one those do you like?
Long blades, please.
Long blades. And then you need to pick your secondary skill was discipline, so you need to pick a discipline focus.
I would say survival makes sense.
It does. It does a lot. Why don't we go ahead and make that survival? And then go ahead and choose 2 more and apply them to whichever skills you like. And now I will go to Ross Bryant. Ross Bryant, how did your skill spending go?
I think I did a spread. So I'm going battle 5, communicate 6, discipline 5, move 5, understand 7.
Great. And as a spy, you get a focus, and that is in understand. Would you pick deductive reasoning or Canly?
I think for this guy, I think I'll go deductive reasoning.
Reasoning.
That's cool.
And then what about your secondary focus, secondary skill of move? What is your focus there?
Focus will be, I think for move, body control.
Oh yeah, there we go, body control. Okay, and then go ahead and pick 2 more focuses.
Great.
Now, just to keep things moving along, is everybody cool? Does everybody have 4 focuses? Or
Yes.
feel like they're on their way to having them? Okay, then I will shoot it back to Troy for the next part of a character creation, which is talents and drives.
Okay, let's talk about drives real quick, because I was looking at that more intently. I kind of skipped over talents. We'll go back to that in a second. But drives, you basically have 5 drives: duty, faith, justice, power, and truth. And you now need to just rank them in the order that you think is most important to this character that you're starting to create. And you rank them with the highest one gets an 8, and then 7, 6, 5, 4. Duty, faith, justice, power, truth. Anybody an 8 in power? Just curious, like right out the gate. Who's all
I think
about
I might have to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, one thing to think about is whatever you rank 8, 7, and 6 will have a drive statement attached to it. And there's a list of drive statements they give you as examples, or you can make up your own. Like power would be like, I use my power to get what I want. That's an example of a drive statement. And basically, when you want to try and invoke power in a role and you pair it with a skill, if it has a drive statement attached to it, you have to make sure that what you're doing is actually in line with that drive statement, because if it isn't, it changes something irrevocably about your character. You cross that drive statement out to reflect your character's insides changing based on the situations. And there's another mechanical bonus to it as well, right, Jared? Like if you do an action that uses a drive statement, you can spend determination on the roll. Yeah.
And determination are these little points. I think you start with one of them at the beginning of, say, a session, and you spend it to get one of your dice automatically comes up as a 1 and gets a critical hit.
Which is 2 successes.
Yeah, which is with determination. But then, as Troy was saying, by like challenging drives, you can earn more determination by challenging them, by changing them, by using drives for tasks that maybe don't exactly match the drive statement. Your character is in internal conflict. As we know from the Dune books, there's a lot going on internally with everybody. So that's what this simulates.
And what's nice about this system is, like, I think whether you're a power gamer or not, there's always a sort of natural inclination to want to always use your best skills. Like, all right, well, how are you going to open that door? Well, I'm using power and move, or I'm using battle and duty to open that door, because those are your highest skills. The drive statements really force you to look at the statement first. Don't even look at the drive and the number. What action are you trying to do? Well, I'm trying to open that door. Well, it could be that your discipline focus is like, I will always be the first person in. And so, like, that may not be your best skill, but that suits what you're actually trying to do. So it doesn't allow you to power game if you really play it by these drive statements. You don't just always choose your best skill. So rank those in order, and then we'll talk about drive statements. What, did anybody finish?
I think I got a good idea of what I'm doing here.
Great.
I did do 8 for power, and then I thought being a Fremen, faith should be number 7. 6 was duty, and I put 5 in truth and 4 in justice.
Great. So for power, faith, and duty, those are the ones that will need drive statements, and you can find those on page 105 to 106 of the CRB.
And keep in mind, you can make up your own, but using those examples as sort of a good, like, kind of template to draw from is probably a good idea. Or just steal it straight off of the page of the book. That's a good idea, too.
Yeah, one thing they say in guiding you to the drive statements is a drive statement is one of the driving forces of the character's worldview and personality, shaping how they interact with the worlds around them and providing motivation for the things they do. They should be easy to understand so that both you and the GM understand when they're helpful, when they're a hindrance, and when they don't apply at all. If you don't know whether or not a drive statement applies to the situation, then you can't use that that drive. And then lastly, you want to have at least one drive statement that poses a problem for your character, because at least mechanically that's going to allow, I think it's more, they say mechanically will allow you to use determination, but really you're just baking in a conflict for your character right at the start, which is going to make it more interesting when we get into the role play. So start thinking of that. And Skid, did you rank your drives?
I did. So I have duty at 8. And yeah, my statement is going to be like, I devote my entire being to my house. 7, I put 7 in truth. And drive statement is something like, truth is of utmost importance and it must be controlled.
Oh, that's cool.
I have power at 6, and it's just his goal is to like improve his own standing and the standing of the house, improve their holdings, like get them to the Imperial throne one day. And then justice at 5, faith at 4.
Awesome.
I had the same 3 on the top, so I might switch mine around. But I also was using duty to protect House Houdin, but looking at the examples, justice says I must shield those in my care, so that's kind of fun. I'll switch those out.
Oh, yeah.
That's interesting.
So my number 1 is justice, but to my house. And then I was going to go for power, and the statement being Bene Gesserit will control the Imperium. So that's kind of like in conflict with protecting the house. Potentially. And then truth, and the example truth statements are all really interesting because some of them are like, the purpose of argument is to change the nature of truth. So I'm gonna steal that one. I like that.
That's chunky. I like that. Ross, what do you got?
I got power at 8. With the statement, power creates the truth. Truth would then be 7, which is that the truth is what people believe it is. Then duty 6, faith 5, justice 4.
Awesome. Oh, wow. This is good. Noura, did any of those drive statements jump out at you?
Yes. This is my highest, but with duty, I had to go with duty as a sharp blade. Being the sword master.
Yes.
For faith, I went with my faith gives me certainty where others might doubt. I feel like that might be useful on some roles and be like, yeah, but my God says like I should do this.
Yeah.
So, and then for conflict, I wasn't thinking about this in the beginning, but when you said something that would cause conflict, power attracts those who are corruptible. The faith power dynamic might be interesting.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, that's good.
A truth to belief is a lever, knowledge is a weapon.
I can't wait to see these in play. All right, this is great. We've got 4 very, very different characters here coming together, and now I'm realizing the first episode is going to be, how did Ross's character get in this family, and did the Bene Gesserit go find this Fremen to recruit to be the swordman? I want to know this whole backstory. That's going to be episode 1.
Diverse crew. We'll figure it out.
But let's get out these talents. So for your archetype, they have a talent that they suggest, where you have to pick, I believe it's 3 talents. You might want to go with that one as 1 just to save you a little headache. And then sometimes they give you 2 different options, but you get 3.
Yeah, and I sent you a whole list, and as we spoke before, maybe just pick, the nice thing about these talent names is they're very descriptive. So if it kind of describes your character, grab it. If you hate how it works when you get into the mechanics of it, then we can change it later. But, some of these really kind of describe a character, like direct, driven, rigorous control.
And
performer.
if you chose a faction and an archetype, that's 2 talents right there, because the faction will have a quote-unquote mandatory talent, and then your archetype will provide at least 1 or 2 other options. So then, yeah, look at the other ones that sounds like it might be your character, and then see if the mechanical option sort of jives with or excites you. And, you know, don't worry if you're like, I just can't. There's too many options. I need time between sessions. We can obviously do that. But if anybody has any talents locked in out of their 3, go ahead and say what they are.
Oh, I think my talent for warrior, if I'm looking at this, says to fight someone is to know them.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the name of the talent?
Yeah.
It's
That's right.
It's a,
Wow.
so I would be choosing
awesome.
that. I would have that one and the Fremen one.
Yes.
Yes.
What was the Fremen one again?
The Fremen
Let's-
came with a long list of choices, but I can go through them
Oh,
again.
did it?
Yeah, so you can choose one of the following: dedication, driven, master at arms,
yes.
which you are. You are the master at arms. Rapid recovery, resilience, subtle step, and the reason I fight.
I think I would do master at arms for the mandatory.
Right.
Great. And what
And
was
then you
the name
get
of
one
that
more.
I get one more of the mandatory traits, or the
No, you just get one more talent. So look through all of them and see if any of them kind of look attractive to you. But
Okay.
right now, your Fremen master, your Fremen sword master, has the talents to fight someone is to know them, and master at arms.
Okay. And you said I get one more of the list, or
You get
Yeah,
3 altogether, and so if you
okay.
want to choose from that list, you can as inspiration. But if you see something else from Jared's list that he sent, you're like, actually, that sounds really good. You could do that.
Let me just kind of so the viewers know what kind of how these things sort of work. Like for example, to fight someone to know them says when you select this talent, choose a skill. When you win a conflict using the chosen skill, you gain 2 bonus momentum points, which you can use to obtain information or create a trait. So basically, I bet this will apply to Noura's character's fighting. When she defeats someone in battle, she can then learn a bunch of things about them.
yes, I
Just
love
from
that.
the way they fight. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
cool.
And then just while we're on it, like her master at arms talent says, at the start of a duel, skirmish, or battle scene, select a single asset that represents a melee weapon or a unit of troops. Due to your prowess, you may spend 1 momentum to improve that asset's quality. Ooh, we're getting into a bunch of rules we haven't really touched on yet, but basically you make whatever you're using in the fight probably a little better than whatever your opponent is using, or you make it a higher quality.
Yeah, all your assets, which Jared will get into next, start at quality 0. You can spend momentum to boost their quality, and if something has a quality of 1 or 2, you can manipulate that to lower the difficulty of a check. Or the game is very fluid, where it's kind of like, I want to, because this is quality 1, I want a bibbidi bobbidi boo, and then I gotta either say yes or no. So that is a cool. It just, you're gonna have access to better stuff when a battle goes down, better weapons.
I love that one of the talents here is priority boarding.
That's
That'd be such a
that's
great talent to have.
spacing guild only, guys.
Yeah.
Nobody chose to be a spacing guild person.
Yeah,
you are not in group 1.
No, you're in the Hayliner Star Alliance Sapphire Club.
What is cross-check and all called? I do it on every flight. Okay. So does anybody else have a talent or 2 that they want to talk about?
I do. You said that face dancing was one of the ones that was mandatory, correct?
Yes. So that's technically not a talent that players can take in the book, but it is on the NPC description of a face dancer. So I have made a GM call and given it to you as your mandatory talent.
Thank you.
Dance that face.
And so I choose 2 more in addition to that?
That's right, but your archetype suggests some.
Yes,
So-
the spy.
Yes.
Hidden motives is the one that it suggests for the spy.
Hidden motives I shall take.
Very good.
Jared, do you see what the mechanical? I'm just curious what hidden motives gives Ross's
I've got
character.
it right here. I'll tell you. because I have it right in front of my... Here we go. When an opponent fails an understand or communicate test against you, you may create a trait which reflects a mistaken belief they have about you.
Oh, wow.
That's cool.
That's very cool. Very, very cool. So, hidden motives.
And then you just need one more if you find one.
I was looking on that list. The one that seemed the most apropos was always watching.
Oh, it's great.
Oh.
Who cares what the mechanical benefits are? That's perfect. Always watching, yeah. Yeah, why is he in House Houdin? How did he get here?
Yeah. Wait, there's a talent called always watching? Constantly watching.
Constantly watching.
Constantly watching.
And that says, whenever you attempt a skill test to detect danger or hidden enemies, you reduce the difficulty by 2.
Nice.
Which might make it 0, which might mean you just kind of get spider sense that tells you someone's about to ambush you.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah. What's nice about a difficulty check of 0, too, is you can still roll on it, and any successes you generate build momentum for the group. Jared and I talked. You probably won't be seeing a lot of difficulty 0 checks in this adventure, but if you have the ability to knock something from a 2 down to a 0, then you have a chance to just build momentum for free.
Yeah.
Awesome. Skid, did we do your talents?
Not yet. I took my two mandatory talents. The one for Envoy is Binding Promise. So I can basically spend momentum to when I get an assurance from an NPC that they would have to spend threat if they wanted to break it.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Which is pretty cool. And then for my mandatory Mentat talent, I took Mind Palace, which is basically perfect recall, I think. I'm not sure the mechanics of it, but it's you just have this perfect eidetic picture in your mind of like everything that you've experienced.
You may attempt a difficulty 0 understand test, meaning you don't need any successes to succeed at it, to recall a past event or place you have previously been to. Momentum you generate on this test may be spent to recall facts and details about that event or location. Yeah, you have perfect recall.
Okay, cool. And then for my third talent, I took Advisor, which is I can use this talent to I attach it to a skill, which I chose Communicate. So whenever someone is making a Communicate skill, I can use this talent so that they can re-roll that roll.
Wow.
I think on a failure, or I think if they fail, like I can use Advisor and then they can try again. I think that's how it works.
That's cool. They all sound right in line.
Yeah, you may re-roll a single D20 if I'm helping you. If for any Communicate skill. Roll.
Becca, did we do yours or no?
No, not yet.
No, we didn't. Okay, what talents have you been cooking up over there?
Okay, well, Prana Bindu is simple. That's the mandatory one of being Bene Gesserit.
Yes.
I don't know if we're deciding this is mandatory, but as a commander, it says Specialist Warfare Assets. And in reading that, it was kind of confusing and boring, so I don't know if I want to pick that.
Yeah, skip it.
Okay, great. And then, so we're going for 3, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, the voice is an option.
Yes.
The Bene Gesserit voice. I feel like as the leader of our house, I gotta take the voice.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Now, are you going to be doing the voice?
Yes.
Do you think I will be doing the voice, Noura?
I just wanted to hear it.
Yes.
I don't know. We'll see what that is.
See if you can.
The David Lynch version of it.
Oh, I haven't seen the David Lynch movie, so
much
we
more
need a viewing
intense.
party.
That one that sounds like this. Noura, what do you think? I think we should order takeout afterwards.
That sounds delicious, yes. I mean, I love takeout generically, non-specific takeout. When you use the voice, you can add 1, 2, or 3 points to threat to score the same number of automatic successes on any Communicate test to influence a chosen target. So I don't know exactly what that means, but it sounds awesome and powerful, and it gives you guys the ability to mess with us. So that's fun for you.
Yeah, that's interesting. Like you make it, you're increasing the negative chances for your house in the future by using this very
That's good
powerful
story.
power.
Yeah.
That's cool. I like that.
Speaking of power, I didn't read through all of these, but one that jumped out at me was Mask of Power. You can intimate that you know more than you do about an enemy's secrets. So once per scene, you can create an asset such as blackmail, which is kind of our house's thing, right?
Yeah.
That, you know, allowing you to initiate an intrigue or espionage conflict with a person of your choosing. The asset is a lie, of course. You don't have anything, but your target doesn't know that. The asset is removed once the conflict is over. And if you're defeated, the fact that you were bluffing is exposed and you suffer an additional complication. I just want to pick things that can go wrong.
Yeah, the ruler of this house is a loose cannon, and I love it.
Yes.
Great.
All right, so all that's left is assets and then finishing touches. Jared, do you want to broach the subject of assets? Because it's a little complicated.
So assets are basically equipment, but they apply to things that you wouldn't normally think of as equipment. Like, it's not just a flashlight. It also might be a servant that you have, like people. Or it might be, as it was just described in that last talent, blackmail evidence or a favor that is owed to you. So I have sent you guys a complete list of all the assets that they have in the book. These are, again, just a jumping off place. Maybe you'll think of your own types of assets that you'd like. You get 3 assets to start with. You really want to definitely define these, because when you use assets in play, they help you take difficulty down on rolls. When you use equipment or a servant or some sort of gimmick like a blackmail evidence on a roll, it takes the difficulty down and makes the roll possible for you. So you see, like, they're as simple as ranged weapons like a laser gun or a mala pistol, or as complicated as old friendship, which is an intrigue asset. So you need to choose 3, and I want to make sure that there are no particular rules for what you can choose, but I think that they are really any 3 that you'd like. And you'll get more assets in play. It doesn't mean you can't pick up more equipment or source, create new friendships and things like that. But these your character always begins the game with these in play. Like, you always have this as an asset for yourself.
Think of something like you can hold something that might be a person, and then something in the middle, like a knife, a Fremen stillsuit, a Fremen quality stillsuit, a ham radio.
Yeah. So, for example, I would say, as a Fremen, Noura, you probably have a stillsuit. You know,
I would say, yeah.
Yeah. So that's just like one that's like kind of comes to mind as sort of a no-brainer. And then our like, you know, Becca's character probably has some of this espionage or intrigue stuff, like
Gom Jabbar.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Oh, wow.
You know, I don't see a Gom Jabbar. Well, definitely you should take a Gom Jabbar if you want one. If you want one.
I,
Quality
of
zero.
course, want a Gom Jabbar.
Yeah.
I also was thinking, we talked about having many courtiers, so maybe, I don't know what they're, maybe I can call dibs on that's what my courtier is connected to when the time is right. But like a courtier of some sort that is from another house.
Oh, that's interesting.
Well, they have what's called a hostage here. It could be someone you've kind of taken, you know, kind of like, what's his name? Theon Greyjoy. Yeah,
That's what I was thinking when I saw hostage. Yeah, like someone being raised in the house that's from another house.
Yeah.
But this
Totally
is a lover?
Theon too.
Would this be like a rival house lover?
Ooh,
Is that what you were thinking?
Maybe it's a secret.
A secret affair.
Yeah.
We haven't got to finishing touches, but I'm curious if you're the Duchess. Are you married? Or do you just have a harem of lovers?
I think I have a harem.
Yeah. You're the leader of the house. You have this harem. Okay.
What's everybody's sexual activity for their character? Let's go around to each person.
Ross?
I think face dancers are canonically sexless.
They're eunuchs, right?
They're
to be
gelded.
clear, I was joking, and then nobody laughed and started saying.
It's important.
I chose this for myself.
Yes.
So,
I'm perfectly fine being one of Becca's lovers.
Yes.
Now we know how you got
you into my harem, Noura.
Yes, this is how I've gotten my. I worked. This is how I got my position.
And though I myself am not don't have sexual drives, I can be whoever you want me to be.
Stand quietly in the room. I did give myself the focus understand of physical empathy. FYI, Noura.
Okay, that works.
Throwing it out there.
Just throwing that out there.
That was under understand physical empathy. Interesting.
This could be
That's like the best Dune pickup line.
I have physical empathy.
You know, I'm
You
minor in
realize I have physical empathy,
Physical
right?
empathy.
She's a great possessor of physical empathy. She said in sign language while having another conversation.
Although, you know, there was masterful innuendo that I was like, that was the thing we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
I saw that too. Yeah, I was like, they found it.
Does anybody else have an asset that they just want to call out or ask about or mention for their character?
I feel like I need a melee weapon.
Yeah.
There are some here that I don't recognize on your list of what the difference is. I'll probably have to read up on those and pick one
a Chris
later.
knife.
Ooh, a Chris knife. As a Fremen, that's one of the things only you could have.
Yeah.
Ooh, I think I'm gonna have to. Now, describe what a Chris knife
It is a
looks
holy.
like.
It is a holy blade made from the tooth of Shahulud, the great worms that dwell in the desert. Once it has been unsheathed, it must draw blood, according to Fremen tradition.
That just, oh my God, that just calls to my heart. Definitely have a Chris knife.
You can take a sword as well. You know, that doesn't have to be your one and only blade, but it is cool to have a Chris knife because only you as a Fremen could have it.
Nice. No, I love it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Do I need some sort of shieldy thingy?
Ooh, not bad. Not a bad idea. You can take a personal shield.
Yeah.
The Fremen don't normally use them, but your Fremen kind of is. He's left the ranch of the Fremen. He's yeah, you've joined this house whole hog, and you're doing your own thing. So a personal shield is not a bad idea.
Yeah, I think I have to do one of those.
Yes, another reason why your siege would never have you back.
Is a still suit gonna come into play for the thing that we're doing, or do we not know? I want to take one.
Can't hurt to have it. That's all.
You don't have to take anything, you know.
Because I know if I don't, Terry's gonna be like, "Guess where we're going."
Well, the thing about it is, like, if you guys were going to go to the desert, it wouldn't be like, "Well, I don't have a still suit. We'll figure it out." You know, you'd have to. That would have to be part of the process. It's like everybody getting a still suit. But I think the bonus here is like you would have one that is of Fremen quality, that is of Fremen make, and so it would give you sort of role play bonuses, whereas they would be given ones that have been that are copies of a copy.
Right.
Yeah, your still suit would mechanically take down the difficulty of your survival rolls, which you already have a focus in. So, you know, whereas theirs would just kind of, they would still have to roll without that bonus. Okay, great. Anybody else have anything in the assets that they want to ask about or call out?
I think there's a couple that I'd like. On the weapons front, I want to pick one that is most subtle, and hence the flip dart. Just a small needle that comes out of concealment to attack someone in case things go a little sideways. And since I'm a spy, I think it makes sense that I might have an illicit recording.
Oh, that's amazing.
Nice.
Okay, great.
I'm looking at my final one. Maybe Truthsayer drug, or maybe Bene Gesserit coded dots. But I feel like I should just get the coded dots from being Bene Gesserit anyway. I mean, they taught us the hand signals and the dots.
The dots just come with the character.
Yeah, you would know how to read them. But I guess this asset sort of says you have some sort of way of creating messages using them. You know, you have some sort of coded dot printer somewhere, or you can
matrix
leave.
printer.
Yeah, you can add a Bene Gesserit coded dot matrix printer, and you can use it to leave messages that only people fluent in that language can read.
Yeah.
I think I need to be leaving dot trails everywhere I go.
Bene Gesserit ASCII art. Yeah.
Yeah, because the Bene Gesserit is my #1 priority. My, I guess. You know what? I'm going to go back and switch my drives and make Bene Gesserit like a little bit higher than the house.
Oh, wow.
Because that's why I need these coded dots.
So this whole house is a shadow Bene Gesserit
It totally
project.
Right, yeah. It's just a Bene Gesserit project. Did you just say your drive for which drive is going higher and which one's going lower?
I switched Justice and Power, so now Justice is 7, and I will protect those in my care, meaning my house, and then Power of 8, Bene Gesserit will control the Imperium.
Yeah, okay, got it.
Nice.
Awesome. Any assets, Skid?
Yeah, I picked an Ixian damper, which will kind of obscure any communication that you're having with somebody. It's like a cone of silence.
Oh, cool.
I picked up, I said political spy, to be determined. I have some spy in some like rival house somewhere, or some other political entity. Like I have a spy.
Oh, cool.
And an ornithopter.
Oh, nice.
Oh, wow.
No big deal.
It's a personal thopter.
Yeah, a little personal ornithopter.
Little one-seater.
Amazing.
Got it for Christmas.
That's cool.
Well, that does it. Everybody has their assets pretty much. I think that we're
I'm mistaken. Face dancers are not fully eunuchs. They can change their gender at will.
Oh, cool.
Even better.
And
Like
with that in
Cloud
mind,
from the Defenders.
I think if I can I select a third asset?
yes.
I think a courtesan would be one of this. So whether in the house itself or maybe someone who moves between, just some other channel of another lever of influence and source of information.
Oh, that's interesting.
Sweet.
It could be a courtesan at like a pleasure house in the city of Arakeen or something.
Or perhaps a member of the royal harem itself.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll solidify that my person one is a hostage that is non-sexual, but of course I do have a separate harem, unrelated.
Right.
Non-sexual and sexual hostages.
There's two wings of the.
They're of their own volition.
So that brings us all the way to the end, where we just need little finishing touches for our character, and the finishing touches will be a name, obviously. And then you need to have one more trait that I think sort of defines your character's personality. I believe that's how it's described. One additional trait for your character, reflecting your character's reputation and how they are regarded by others.
It's kind of like the house trait.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but for your character specifically.
Secretive, sly, drunkard,
jovial, premature ejaculator. You know, something.
right?
I'm leaning towards
Who's choosing
innuendo. Because that was the fairy thing we were trying to name.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Innuendo.
Except Becca as a person is extremely direct, so role-playing anything else is very difficult.
I'm writing master of innuendo
Yeah, that's yes.
for your character. And then see if you can think of a name for, I'm assuming her. Well, it has to be her if it's Bene Gesserit.
Something Houdin.
Yeah.
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 Oh, yeah. I don't know. I like the name Dilessa. Something with a lot of
Dilessa.
S's and an A.
Ooh.
I love the
Great.
name Dilessa.
Dilessa
Is that
is great.
Dilessa?
I think D-E.
D-E, Dilessa.
Dilessa
Dilessa.
Houdin.
Dilessa
Houdin. Awesome.
That's beautiful. That's truly beautiful.
Awesome.
Okay, great. Anybody else know what their trait is and maybe their name?
I have. Are you limited to one personality trait, or is it?
Well, if you weren't a mentat and if you didn't already have these other traits, you might not be limited. Well, I think that you could go with more than one. Let me see here. One additional trait. No, it is limiting what you can have. So you already have your archetype trait, which is that you're the envoy of House Houdin. You already have the trait mentat, and then you're picking a personality trait.
Okay. So I'd written down devious, loyal, and obsequious. So I think I'll keep obsequious.
Oh, I love it.
That'll be my personality trait.
And I'll just spell that, because spelling obsequious isn't that hard. You know, it's no problem. I've got it taken care of. I think I got it right. I don't know.
I'm glad. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, and I do have a name.
Oh,
also. Great. Aurelius DeGrom.
Aurelius DeGrom?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. Which sticks with the traditions of using Roman imagery in Dune.
Yeah.
And Dutch. It's a lot of
like
Dutch
Peter
names.
De Vries.
Peter De Vries. And my own personal...
My sister-in-law's last name is De Vries, and she's Dutch.
Oh, there you go.
Super Dutch, yeah.
And it continues my own personal streak of naming my characters after Major League Baseball players.
Aurelius DeGrom. Is that A-U-R or O-R?
A-U-R-E-L-I-U-S.
Okay. Marcus Aurelius. All right, Aurelius DeGrom, the Mentat, Envoy, Chief Diplomat. Delessa Houdin, the Bene Gesserit Duchess Commander. What about our Bene Tleilaxu Spy and our Fremen Swordmaster?
Yes, This individual goes by the name of Pharos.
Pharos.
Just the island nearby where Proteus was supposed to have lived. So
yeah,
since he's a shapeshifter.
So we're saying P-H-A-R?
P-H-A-R-O-S.
Oh, that's awesome.
Got it. Yeah.
Pharos.
And what is the reputation or personality trait of Pharos? Because you already have Face Dancer and House Houdin and Spy as two traits.
Underhanded.
Underhanded.
Great. And what about our Fremen? So you already have Swordmaster of House Houdin and Warrior as your two traits, and Fremen as an additional trait. So what is your personality or reputation trait?
Could I go with like passionate as a personality trait? Just full force in everything that they do.
Yes, you can.
Hell yeah, that's
know,
awesome.
Innuendo, there's many, but in all aspects of her life, she's a very passionate person.
Awesome.
Passionate.
Okay. And then I chose the name Corin, and which I picked first, and then I looked up, is that actually a name? And it is, and it means spear. So I thought that was very fitting.
Cool.
Nice.
Perfect. How do you spell that?
Korin.
Great.
Oh, nice. That's great. I love that.
That's cool.
Corin.
I love that you randomly chose a word that is what your character is.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
Their name is Knifey.
Knifey McStabberson.
Knife Bladeson.
You did very good, Noura.
The final thing that they recommend that you do is have an ambition. That's your long-term goal your character has. And you during character creation, your character's ambition should be based on their highest rated drive. So this is really the final touch, aside from, kind of deciding what your character looks like and things like that. So does anybody have an ambition they'd like to share?
Glory through victorious battle.
Nice.
That's very ambitious.
And that is related to power. Yeah, it is related to power.
Yeah.
To obtain glory through what kind of battle?
Victorious.
Victorious battle. Glory through victorious battle.
Glory
you can't
from...
just suck and lose all the battles and feel glory. The glory's got to come from the wins.
Glory through outrageous defeats.
And you might say right now, I don't know what my ambition is yet, Jared. I need to wait till episode 1 or episode 4 when the ambition comes up for the first time. And that's okay too.
Glory through interior design.
Glory through set design.
Yeah. That's right. Set design. Yep. Yes. Set design. Why'd you keep repeating set design in your English? And then for your personal details, you can actually just email those to me, and we're going to fire them right off to an artist so that we can have art of your characters for episode 1. Awesome. If you don't want to feel pot committed to saying what they look like right now and you want to maybe sleep on it, you can send it, and then we will debut them in episode 1.
Amazing.
And I have played a little bit secretary and recorded your traits and your details and everything, but I missed a couple drive statements and stuff like that. So as long as you have all of them, we're good. But let me know if you have any questions later, like, hey, I'm missing something here. Do I need something for this? And I'll help you figure it out.
Awesome. Yeah, and in the meantime, if you stuck with us throughout this whole thing, thank you. I mean, this is always the best part of playing, is just building characters, but this is going to be a real, unique, special adventure that Jared and I are going to be running for this all-star cast. So join us on Friday, February 11th at 8 p.m. Eastern, when Inherit the Sand debuts with the face dancer Pharos, the Bene Gesserit Duchess Commander Delessa Houdin, the Fremen warrior swordmaster Corin, and the Mentat envoy chief diplomat Aurelius de Grom start their generational adventure.
Yes.
Good night.
I'm so excited.
Awesome.
Good night. Good night.
I can't wait.